Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome to my channel English with Shelley. In this video we are going to cover grammar portion of chapter number 4 Fantastic Journey. Page number 66 Similes. We use similes and metaphor to make our writing more interesting. So in writing we use similes and metaphor. What is similes and metaphor? So let's look at it. Similes. A simile is a figure of speech that make comparison between two different things on the basis of commonality. It means there is something common in both of them and we make comparison between them. It helps the reader imagine something more clearly by comparing it to something that already know. For example, you are saying this thing is like that thing. So in this way, you are painting a picture in someone's mind. When we use simile, so we use the word like or as. For example, Agatha is beautiful like a rose. So we make a comparison between Agatha and Rose. What is commonality between them is the beauty. Rose is also beautiful and Agatha is also beautiful. So we compare that Agatha beauty is like a rose. On the other hand, if we talk about metaphor, so metaphor is also a figure of speech and it also makes a comparison between two things, but it's a bit different. In metaphor, it says something is something else without using the word like or as. So in simile we use like or as, but in metaphor we don't use like or as, and in metaphor we directly compare something. There is a direct comparison between two things, and you are not just comparing, you are saying one thing is another to make it more powerful or imaginative. For example, if we say Agatha is a rose, so it doesn't mean that she is a flower. Rose is a flower and Agatha is a human. Here we also compare the beauty of Agatha with the beauty of Rose, but we make a direct comparison. We directly say that Agatha is a rose. So when we make direct comparison, so that is metaphor. And when we use like or as, so that is simile. Let's take another example. She is as busy as a bee. And the other sentence is she is a busy bee. In first sentence, she is as busy as a bee. This means she is very busy like a bee that always works hard. So you are using the word as to make a comparison. But on the other hand, she is a busy bee. This doesn't mean that she is really a bee. It means she works hard and constantly just like a bee. It's a stronger and more imaginative way to say something. So this is metaphor. So here is a simile compares two things which have something in common. So in simile, we make comparison on the basis of commonality and we use the word as or like to make the comparison. For example, look at these sentences. The children ran like a wind. So it means that children were running very fast, so fast that it felt like the wind was blowing. So here the wind moves quickly and this helps the reader imagine just how fast the children were running. Second, she climbed like a monkey. It means she was climbing quickly and easily just like a monkey who is very good at climbing trees or rope. So here we make a comparison between the action that she is doing. So that action is similar to the action of monkey. Third example is he was as quiet as a mouse. It means that he wasn't making any noise at all. He was very quiet, just like a little mouse that barely makes a sound. And fourth example is the girl was as good as a girl. It means that the girl was very well behaved, kind and polite. She followed the rule and made everyone proud. So gold is also precious and valuable. Saying someone is as good as gold means they are special and wonderful in how they act. Exercise A. Look at the page 63 and 64. Find one simile describing the setting and one simile that describing the yeti. So on those pages, the simile that describe the setting, that is creamy blossom as big as plates. So this simile describe the settings. And the second simile that describe the yeti is huge, round, intelligent eyes as big as saucer. So this simile describing the yeti. Exercise B. Complete these similes with your own ideas. So you have to filling the blanks with similes. First one is the Yeti's feet were as huge as boulders. A boulder means a rock, a stone that is big and heavy. So Yeti feet are so big and heavy. That's why we compare them with boulders. Second one is Yeti's fur was soft like a cloud. Third one is the Yeti's eyes were as bright as stars. So we compare the Yeti's eyes with stars. Exercise C. Look at the rainbow, write a simile for each of the color of the rainbow and put them into the sentences. For example, as red as a ripe apple. So on this page, they draw the rainbow and you have to write one sentence by using the simile on every color of rainbow. So here are the sentences. Second color is orange. A sentence is as orange as a glowing sunset. Third color is yellow as a banana peel. Fourth color is green as a spring meadow. What is meadow? Meadow means a green grassy land. Fourth color is blue as the ocean on a clear day. Next one is indigo as twilight shadows. Last color is violet, a violet as blooming lavender. So these are the sentences that describe the color of rainbow. Stretch zone. Write about an imaginary monster using similes. Your monster can be friendly or scary. So you have to write a paragraph on a monster and that monster is might be friendly or scary. So here is the paragraph. Page number 67, speech marks. So speech marks are the inverted commas that we use around the sentences that was spoken by someone. So speech marks are placed around spoken words. In writing, when any character speak, so that word or that dialogue is always written in inverted commas, or that inverted commas are called speech mark. For example, hello said Yeti. So hello is the word that is said by Yeti. So this is a dialogue, that's why we put speech mark around hello. Punctuation is placed at the end of each piece of dialogue before the speech marks are closed. We always use punctuation mark before the speech mark. That when the sentences end, we first use the punctuation mark, then we put the speech mark. Punctuation such as following like exclamatory sign, question mark, comma, and full stop. For example, what's your name? So this is the dialogue. At the end you see that the question mark is highlighted. Also the question mark is put before the speech mark. So in writing, when we write a dialogue, so we always write a dialogue in a speech mark, and if any punctuation in the dialogue, so we put that punctuation into the inverted commas, and after that we put the speech mark. Start a new line every time a different character speaks. So in written, when every character speaks, so we start a new line. For example, if a dialogue said by Yeti, so we write a Yeti dialogue in a speech mark, and then if a dialogue said by Agatha, then we write that sentence or that dialogue in a new line or a new speech mark. For example, where are you taking me? Asked Agatha. So the dialogue said by Agatha is written in speech mark, but said Agatha is not written in speech mark. And then the next dialogue is said by Yeti. You'll see, replied the Yeti. So when we write a next dialogue, so we start a new line. So in this we learn that speech mark is used around the spoken words. Secondly, we use punctuation before speech mark. Thirdly, when a new dialogue starts, so we start with new line. Exercise A. Look at page 63 and 64. Find one example of what Agatha says out loud and one example of what Agatha says in her mind. So here is the example that what Agatha says out loud is, perhaps I haven't died after all. said Agatha. So this is the dialogue that Agatha says out loud. The other is what Agatha says in her mind to herself is I should feel terribly frightened, thought Agatha. So this is the dialogue that he thought in her mind. Exercise B. Copy the three sentences below and add the speech marks and punctuation. You have to add speech mark and punctuation in those sentences. Sentence number 1. Welcome to my home, shouted the Yeti. So, welcome to my home is the dialogue that is shouted by the Yeti. Welcome to my home is the dialogue, so we put speech mark around it, and we put after whom we put exclamatory sign because that is said with full of emotion. That's why we put exclamatory sign here. So after exclamatory sign we put speech mark. Okay. Then second one is I am so very tired, murmured Agatha. I am so very tired is a dialogue, so we put speech mark there, and after tired we put comma, and comma is the punctuation mark. First we put comma and then we put speech mark there. What would you like to do? Asked the Yeti. So it's a question. What would you like to do? This is the dialogue and also a question. So we put question mark after do, and after that we put speech mark around the dialogue. Ask the Yeti. Exercise C. Put the text in these two speech bubbles into sentences, correctly adding speech mark. Can you think of alternative words to use instead of said? For example, whispered or exclaimed. So as they write a dialogue in a yellow bubble, we also have to write a dialogue in a brown bubble and also put a speech mark around the dialogue. So hello, good to meet you. We have to put speech mark around this dialogue, and then we write shouted Agatha. In brown bubble we write a dialogue. Have you come to visit me? Exclaimed the Yeti. So around the dialogue we put a speech mark and then we write exclaimed the Yeti, and this is the question. So after that we put question mark and then we put speech mark and then we write exclaimed the Yeti. So this is the answer of this question. Now move to the next page, page number 70, the apostrophe contraction. So apostrophe is also a punctuation mark and it look like comma. We put comma along the end of the letter, and on the other hand apostrophe we put apostrophe on the upper head of the letter. Apostrophe are used in contraction, so we use apostrophe for contraction. What is contraction? When we combine two words and makes a compound word. But in contraction we combine two words and make contraction and make a shortened form of that words. In this, when words are shortened by leaving out a letter, so in this process words are shortened out, and we make it by leaving the letter and by dropping the letter of the word and put apostrophe there. The apostrophe is there to show us that a letter is missing. It means in any word where the apostrophe is used, that place there is a missing of letter. For example, she is always late. Word she is, full form of she is she is. These are two separate words, and when we contract it, so we put apostrophe and drop the letter I and make a shortened form of these two words, and we write she is always late. We usually use contraction when we are speaking. So most of the time we use contraction in writing also, and most of the time we use it in speaking. That's funny. So it's a contraction of that is. We contract two words, that is, and we put apostrophe, drop the letter I and makes the shortened form that's funny. I can't see the princess anywhere, said the prince. So here the can't is also a shortened form of cannot. The word is can and not. And when we contract here and make a shortened word, that is cannot, and we put apostrophe there and missing the letter N and O. Now move to the exercise A. Match the contraction left to the words right. So there is a contraction on the left box, and there is a full form of that contraction on the right box, so we have to match them. First word is whose. So it's the full form of who is. Second word is your. So it's the full form of you are. They'll, they will, let's, let us. So these are the contraction and those are the full form of that contraction. Exercise B. Rewrite these sentences using contraction. So these are the sentences we have to contract the words that and we make the words shorten. First sentence is who is going to arrive first. So we make contraction here of the words who and is. We put apostrophe there and drop the letter I and make a shorter form who's going to arrive first. Second sentence is the explorers did not know the way. Here we make the contraction of the words did and not. And when we make contraction, so we put apostrophe after N and drop the letter O. And we say that the explorer didn't know the way. Third sentence is the Yeti cannot be found. So we make contraction of can and not. And similarly, it is the Yeti can't be found. Exercise C. Write 3 sentences of your own containing 1 or 2 contraction. So you have to write 3 sentences and in those sentences there is a 2 or 3 contraction must be written. With the partner, read out your sentences and can your partner identify all the contracted words? Can you identify your partner's contracted words? So you have to work with your partner after writing the sentences. So here are the sentences. Stretch zone. Make a list of more contraction and use them in a sentence. So you have to make a list of more contractions and then you have to make a sentence. Page number 71. The apostrophe possession. So we also use apostrophe for possession. What is possession? Possession means show the ownership of a person. Apostrophe are also used to show us that something belongs to someone. So we also use apostrophe to show that this thing is belong to this person, to show the ownership. This is called possession. So this is called possession that shows the ownership of anything. For example, Agatha put her hand on the Yeti's arm. So the owner of the arm is Yeti. Here we put apostrophe and also write the letter S and we use it because we show the ownership. The owner of the arm is Yeti. The apostrophe always come after the owner. Use apostrophe for possession. So we always use that apostrophe after the name and put S there. Now move to the exercise A. Write these sentences underlining the owner and adding the apostrophe. So the sentence number 1 is the child's coat was on the seat. Here we have to underline the owner and then apostrophe. So the owner of the coat child and child is a singular, so we put apostrophe. The apostrophe come before the S. So this is the another use. When we add apostrophe for possession and that word contains S at the end, so we put apostrophe before the letter S and make the possession. We cannot add another S. We just put the apostrophe before the letter S and make the owner. So here we write this sentence like the child and then apostrophe and then put S and then coat was on the seat. Second sentence is the horses ate the Yeti food. So in this sentence, who is the owner of the food? Yet. So we put apostrophe before the letter S and make Yeti the owner. Why horses does not take an apostrophe? Because it is not a possessive. It is just the plural of horse. And horse are not the owner of food. The owner of the food is Yeti. So we put apostrophe before the letter S in the Yeti's name and we'll make the possession here. Next sentence is she came in her father's car. So the owner of the car is father. So father is the owner of the car. So we put apostrophe before the letter S and this is the rule that those words that have S at the end, we don't put apostrophe and write the S again. We just put apostrophe before the letter S. So here we write it like this. She came in her father's car. Exercise B. Rewrite these phrases using an apostrophe plus s and then apostrophe. You have to write these sentences again. First sentence is the carrots of the rabbit. So who is the owner of carrots? Rabbit. So we write it like this: the rabbit's carrots. Second one is the tail of the cat. Who is the owner of the tail? Cat. So we write this phrase like this: the cat's tail. Third one is the edge of the water. So we write this sentence like the water's edge. Exercise C. In pairs, write a list of people's names that begin with each letter of alphabet. For each name, add an object which also begins with same letter. Use the possessive apostrophe to show what each person owns. You have to write A to Z letters of English alphabets. Then write the names with those letters. Then you have to add an object that is also begin with the same letter, and then you have to make a possession there. Like for example, M is apple. So the name start with the letter A, and the object also start with the letter A, apples. You have to make possession here. You have to write names like this. Here are the list of the people names that begin with each letter, and also the object that begin with the same letter, and so the possession. On this page there is also a learning tip. Remember, if you are adding an s just to make a noun plural, you do not add an apostrophe. So whenever you make a plural of anything, you don't need to put apostrophe there. You just put the letter s, like cat, cats. You make plural here. When you show the possession, then you add the apostrophe and then the letter s. So here the grammar part of this chapter is completed. In the next video we will cover the modern writing. If you like this video, share it, like it, subscribe my channel, and Allah Hafiz.